Hey everyone, it's Shobit, and today we'll be talking about a very crucial topic. It's about stories. It's about the stories that you tell yourself to get through the day, the stories that are causing you to not seek out the things that you're meant for. You're losing big in your career. Stay tuned for more. Okay, so before we go into the actual stories that I see people tell themselves, let's talk about why is it that this happens. So let's say you're a product manager who really wants to go work at a Google, a Facebook, a Uber, one of those companies that are known to have great product managers. And at the same time, you've been trying for many years to get to them, but you're stuck in working in some company in the financial services, retail, some area where they have product managers for name, but really, they're not really product managers. They're more like project managers, maybe product owners. They don't define vision, they don't define strategy. There's hardly any other product managers. These people feel like they're the smartest person in the room. Things are not working out for you. So what happens? Well, imagine the disappointment of not having made it to that level, despite trying for years and years. So what does your mind do? Mind comes up with bullshit stories or coping mechanisms that makes it, that softens the pain for you, right? In the sense that you can't spend your entire life feeling miserable about what's going on, right? And so because you cannot do that, your mind comes up with all these stories that minimize the problem, that make the problem go away, that it seems like it's not that bad. An example of that is going to the dentist or not going to the dentist. So when people have toothache on one side, what do? Well, you might think that they run to the dentist. No, most people just eat on the other side. They just eat on the left. And they're like, oh, this problem, it will go away on its own. Maybe if I just pretend it's not there, maybe I'll take some ibuprofen or something. And I just, keep trying so I don't have to go to the dentist, because going to the dentist is not a pleasant task. It's not a pleasant task, and people will do anything to avoid actually taking action on the problem that's ailing them. And so one part of that is just coming up with these stories that cause you to not actually take action. And so the reason why you're doing that is to protect yourself, is to not face the truth. So let's talk about what these stories are. Number one, the story is that the problem is not as bad as it seems. You start to look at the positives of the situation. That, you look at your current job where you haven't done a product vision presentation ever, but you're like, oh, but at least I have the title. At least I'm called a product manager and I can leverage that. Oh, I shipped the system that's used by 10 people. At least those 10 people found value. You find everything that's possible to make it feel that your current role is really what you want. Deep down inside, that's not the truth, but you're bearing this truth under a huge pile of garbage that's all about why my current role is good enough for me at this point in time. And while, when I work with people, one of the things we really work on is their mindset, and we need to have them look at the positives of the situation. Matter is, that's only useful when you're actually taking towards getting where you want. When that positive shift starts to spin away and makes you not act, that's when it becomes one of the most harmful things you can do. So the first bullshit story that you might be telling yourself is, oh, my current job is good enough. Okay, that's number one. Let's talk about number two. Number two might be that, oh, I am getting better. I am moving towards my goal. I know I'm moving slowly, but I'm moving towards my goal. So, real story. Somebody who I spoke to. It's like, hey, I've been applying at Amazon for these past 4 years. I've interviewed with them, I don't know, 5 times, 6 times, I forget, something like that. And, I didn't get through. But this time, I still didn't make it past the first round, but this time they reached out to me. I didn't even have to apply. And so things are of course getting better, Shobit, because now my resume, everything is so attractive that companies actually reach out to me. And even what's the real truth of the situation is, first time I interviewed, they made it to the loop. This time, they didn't even make it to the loop. They were rejected in the first round. But the story that they keep themselves is like, oh, this one thing that because I was in their system, they reached out to me. So I can, keep trying every 6 months. I am getting better, even if slowly, is one of the biggest bullshit stories. Because look, this person has the opportunity when they take certain actions that I'll explain later, they can get better and they can actually land the job. But by telling this story, they're depriving themselves of the urgency of that action. So that's the other bullshit story that people are telling themselves when it's improving slowly over time. Okay, so the next story. When it really hurts when you're not at a particular destination, let's say a product manager at Google, is when you see your best friend who went to the same college as you, who, had a similar first job, when you see them there, you're not there. That's when it really hurts the most. And the story that people tell to make this easy for themselves is, they got lucky. My best friend got lucky. They got, they had all these things go right for them. They found the right mentor. They happen to interview, get the right interviewers. Google happened to call them. Just like all these coincidences happened. And so that's why they're there. While me, I'm more capable. I got more promoted. But I'm not there because luck was not on my side. And this exactly, this attribution of somebody else's success to luck is exactly what's preventing you from taking action right now, if you're telling yourself this story. Because look, I speak to a couple of types of people. One, which is they're all about other people's success is because of their luck. And the other kind, who are saying that, look, yes, my best friend got there, but they have this one skill that I don't have. It might be interviewing, it might be executive communication, it might be product strategy, whatever it is. And I will not go one more day without a clear plan, a proven mentor to help me get to that. That is the one. Those are the kind of people that ultimately make it through. Others, you're going to stay stuck in this feeling of, oh, they're just lucky. And look, I appreciate why you might have this story, because look, you might even be part of the same social circle as these people. Right? You might be part of the same social circle. And because you're part of the same social circle, you might actually come face to face with them. And, if you ever do that and you find avoiding the the career situations with them, it's a clear sign that this is really what's going on, is that you have a little bit of jealousy, envy, even more than that, you have shame in where you are in your career and where they are. And look, at different points in time, I've felt that. I can empathize with that. But also, I realized that I had to get rid of that story. I had to move past and go do something that will 100% get me out of that disempowered state and go fix it. Go fix the solution. I can't make everything happen, but I sought out a career path, mentors, everything that helped me accelerate my career and get to that space. And so that story of others got lucky and I just didn't get that luck is what's depriving you of true career success. The next story is I've already spent enough. So this often happens when I speak to people who've done MBAs. Okay, and look, I got my MBA. I loved my experience. I still recommend it to people in certain circumstances. But keep in mind that the money that you spent is gone. If you spent $150,000 and then you have, $120K in loans and something like that, you deciding not to invest any more in your career because you got to pay back that previous money is the worst use of sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost. What is sunk cost fallacy? Let me tell you a story. Anybody heard about the Concorde? That this jet that used to fly from New York to London. It took billions and billions and billions of dollars and left all that money, and basically that money was never recuperated. And yet, the British government, the French government, whichever companies invested in that, they just kept pouring more money. Why? Well, it was because they had at a certain point realized that they were never going to make that money back, and actually investing any more would just not result in any positive yields. But they kept investing because they were like, hey, we've got to make that money back. So, we got to keep spending. Now, this is the opposite example, right? Where because you've spent so much money, now you're like, oh, I can't spend anymore. First, I have to make that money back. And then only can it be useful. So what people make a simple mistake because of that is they say, look, I'm going to take a look at the new thing that you offer me, and basically the return on investment will be on that plus on everything I've spent so far. And because I've already spent so far, then that return on investment doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to invest. This because I've spent so much, I can't spend any more is depriving people of the ability to make simple decisions where by investing a certain amount, they can make 10 times that over the course of next year and keep making that money throughout their career. Simple decisions like that become difficult because they are spinning around this story of, look, everything I've done so far, it hasn't worked out, and so it won't in the future. So don't fall victim to the, I've spent so much money, so I can't spend any more. That is just now not how you're supposed to make these decisions. You're supposed to make them based on how much do I need to spend? What's the ROI? Okay, cool. I got it. Let's go to it. Next stories that people tell is this feeling guilty of wanting more. The story is basically, oh, I should be happy with what I have. I should be happy with what I have because there is somebody who's sitting in some country somewhere who's making 1/10 of what I'm making. They're finding it hard to find water and food, and so I should be just grateful. And I agree with that. You should be grateful with what you have. But the problem is when you say, I should just be grateful. Because when you say, I should just be grateful, what you haven't said is, I should just be grateful and not act. I should just be grateful and not seek more. I should just be grateful and not go for what's truly in my heart. In fact, I should bury it, hide it in my heart, and not go for things that really make that difference. And look, if you want to keep telling yourself this lie, hey, who am I to stop you? But all these lies come at a cost. When you wake up 10 years from now and you realize you could have taken some massive action and you chose to pretend to be grateful, even though you weren't really grateful, pretend to be okay, and now you're at even worse case in your career. You've not done things that you can be proud of, and you're paying the price. You're paying the price for those lost opportunities. So don't just be grateful. Be grateful and act to get things that you truly want. Next story is the myth of the self-made man or woman, that I should not seek out help. That's the story people are telling themselves, because they're imagining this mythical creature who started with nothing, and then on their own they figured everything out, and today they are 100% successful. And they're taking the examples of other people who did that. Except the other people didn't tell them what they actually went through and what help they actually got to succeed. Because I truly believe that there's no one who's self-made. I'm not self-made. I've had many, many mentors, and I'm grateful and thankful for their help, because whether it was in product management or whether it's in business or just in life and spirituality and finances, without their help, I'll be at a shitty spot. Be at a really shitty spot. And thanks to their help, I am where I am. So the myth of the self-made man and the story that you're telling yourself which is that I should figure this out on by myself, is just, it's robbing you. I remember recently somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn, and they said, Shobit, I know we spoke about this role a while ago. I achieved this all by myself. I didn't take any single help. And they could have had that role, or probably a level higher, with our help in 3 months. What took them 9 months to a year to get. They just wasted 6 months to 9 months figuring it out on their own, and then probably landing a level lower than where they could have been. Or they could have just taken some help and gotten there much faster. So this myth of the self-made person is robbing people of their greatness and their potential. If you look at the best people in the world, top level CEOs, top level sports people, how many of them have coaches? Probably like 99.9% of them. So when these people need a coach, who are you to say that you don't need help and you're going to be self-made? Stop kidding yourself. Get the help that you need. The next harmful myth, that the story that people are telling themselves, is, I really don't need any more money. I have enough. I remember hearing this from someone who was literally out of a job. And they were saying, I don't need more money. I have some savings. So, if I'll get a job in a year, I'm cool. And then I asked them, look, how long did it take for you to put together those savings? 15 years. How long can they last? Maybe a year. So what's it like seeing the savings that you spent a year on, you're working towards, dwindle down, fall down in 1 year? If you kept these savings, what would you do with them? They said, I'll use it for my kids' education. That's ultimately where I want to use them. Like, what would be the worst part of when your kid goes to school to say that, sorry, pay on your own? And that's when they got it. They need more money. When good people get more money, well, money is a magnifier, right? When bad people get money, or people who just conditioned to be bad, they do more bad things. When good people get more money, they do more good things. Money is a magnifier, and you need it because what it's going to do, it's going to allow you to free up your time and do the things that are important for your loved ones. It's going to contribute at a higher level. They're going to bring more of you to the highest level. I mean, just like it's that magnifier that you need to make sure that your contribution to the world is proper. So you can keep telling yourself the story that, look, I don't need more money, I have enough. But the fact is that more money is going to help you contribute to your loved ones, to the world in general, to causes you care about at a level that's much, much higher than what you're doing right now. That's why you need the money. At this point, you really have a choice. So, choice is to keep telling yourself these stories and just sort of like push the truth down. Stay with your coping mechanisms, stay where you are. Or, if you're ready to face the truth, if you're ready to own up to the things that are really going on, it's time to take action. Book a call with us, links on the video or below. Let's get talking. Let's figure out how to get you to the next level so that you never have to tell yourself these bullshit stories again. Talk to you soon.